guys, it's Ahmer here. So here we are back with another episode in my series where I try and complete the entire Super Nintendo library. And we left off with last week with 322 out of 721 games. So this week we decided to go to a different state. We went to Virginia and I went to a place called Estarland. This place is massive and I could not wait to see what I would find. So let's go ahead and check this out. So as I go through this entire list of items and games that I actually need for the Super Nintendo set, as there are just so many different games for this library, I thought that this would be a great time to go ahead and cross off some of the games that I could find for great deals. So this place is amazing. So pretty much when you walk into this place, it's kind of in the style of an entire warehouse, and they just have like these massive walls full of almost what it looks like complete sets, complete libraries of these games, and pretty much everything is available by looking up on their website, as they do have, you know, majority of their inventory across on the website so that you can see the different prices kind of in real time. So nothing there is specifically priced out. It all has a barcode on it and it brings you to their, you know, Wi-Fi, and then you have to kind of search or scan the barcodes to figure out the different prices. That way they, you know, keep everything current because there are just so many different games there. But I saw tons of cool like collector's editions, different games. They had so much for the Nintendo Switch, just so many different games for the Wii, for the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3. So kind of like those systems, they just had so many games. And then of course when it came to the cartridges, I went up and down each and every single aisle, and I tried to find as many Super Nintendo games that I needed for my collection and some other cool ones. So we'll just go ahead and get into some of these games here. So some of these I just scored for like $2 or so a piece. A couple of these do need cleaned. So they do have like two different sections. So one of them is like pretty much the entire store where everything's clean, tested, verified. It looks like pretty good shape. It's all like shrink wrapped or in like these protective cases for you. Or you could go to like the back of the store where they have some games that maybe aren't the best labels, or the backs of the games really aren't the best, but you could get them like heavily discounted. So that's exactly what I did, especially with some of these sports titles that I needed. So this game I did not have. I don't really know too much about it. So we have this NFL Capcom's MVP Football. So this is a football game. Of course, this one just kind of like blends in with the rest of the different football games. I don't really know too much about this one per se, but I feel like this one, because it was only like $2 or so, it really can't be one of the greatest football games just based on the price alone. But this is a title that I definitely needed, and I'll have to try and get that sticker residue off of the label here. But for like $2, you definitely can't complain, as that is a game that I just did not want to spend, you know, these full amounts of money on. And then next up, we have this game here. So as you can tell, the way that this one is, it's in a protective case, has a barcode on it, has these little like tamper-proof stickers on it to show that it was clean, tested, and everything else. We have Sports Illustrated Championship Football and Baseball. Now, once again, I'm not really too sure about this game, but I'm sure that someone out there is very nostalgic for this particular title, as it does have, you know, championship football and baseball. So this one might be an interesting one to go ahead and try and see how maybe it holds up compared to some of the other sports titles. So this one we have Tony Meola's Sidekicks Soccer. So once again, I don't really know too much about this one. I definitely did not play a lot of these sports titles growing up, but I'm sure that it has to do with, you know, this whole entire like spin on what they used to do, where they would take, you know, a famous person or some sort of athlete or something like that, and they would create their own game for that person. And then we have this one, we have TNN Bass Tournament of Champions. Now, surprisingly, there are tons of these like bass games, so there are quite a few of these. Don't really know how this particular like fishing game is, but I'm sure that this one is fun, especially if you enjoy those like fishing style games, but this is not another one, once again, that I grew up with. And then we get into these Super Nintendo games. This one is Cliffhanger. I also only paid a couple dollars because the back is a little bit discolored on it, but this was pretty much modeled after the movie. So if you were a Stallone fan at the time, maybe you got this Cliffhanger game, maybe you enjoyed it, but this was, you know, kind of like simple compared to like there's action, there's fighting, you know, types of games. But pretty much you run around, you beat people up, you have to jump over these different like gaps, you do climb a little bit, but there's not really too much going on with this particular game. So I would have to say the one that I really scored on was this one right here. So at one of the other stores, I got NBA Jam. Well, this one is NBA Jam Tournament Edition. This one has, you know, more stuff to it. It is just a fun game. So this is visually stunning. I just love this particular game. Of course, the announcer with those like catchphrases, especially Boom Shakalaka. I mean, everyone knows and loves that. Playing these games back in the day, even in the arcades, you know, just having a blast with this like whole creative style, and then having some upgraded things in this particular version. This was definitely the game that made it for me, but that was not all that I found. So this game has been on my list for quite some time. So I have the first and the third of Army of Two. Now, of course, the first one was great, but I was told that I had to play Army of Two the 40th day. So this one is like the second one. This is such a fun co-op style game. It really is a blast. You're just like so destructive in this game, and it actually looks really cool. So these characters kind of like feed off of one another, and the story is just great. So I can't wait to check this one out and to find this one complete, as they had like tons of Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 games there. This was definitely a good score, as all of the stores around me just don't seem to have this particular game. And then I got really lucky. So I wandered around the store and I saw that they had like tons of these like collector's editions. Some of them had so much dust on them and I couldn't even find a price tag. But when I took this collector's edition up to the front, so here we have this Ninja Gaiden 3 Collector's Edition for the Xbox 360. They said that it was discounted because it was sitting there for so long. So this one was actually really cool, and I'm pretty excited to have this one on display. Now, I heard some, you know, mixed reviews about this particular game. Some people liked it, some people didn't. Some people said that there was just too much bad with it. But I kind of like those, like, repetitive style, like, fighter games where you just have so much fun. I think the graphics, or at least like the look or the style, look really cool. So it says, at the crossroads of death and valor, the only certainty is bloodshed in the fight to survive. So this looks like a very like red game. So right here we have this collector's edition where it comes with the official soundtrack, the art book, Duel of the Masked Figure. We have Dead or Alive 5 Alpha Demo Premium Edition downloadable code voucher. So this actually looks really cool, and just for like the two figures or like that little mini statue, I thought that this was such a great deal, so I had to score this one for my game room in the collection. And then once again, I did the same thing. I actually saw this, and they said that no one had purchased this one in years either. So here we have South Park, The Stick of Truth, and this one was, I think, even cheaper than the Ninja Gaiden one, and they really weren't even that much. I think like 30 bucks or something. So this is the Grand Wizard Edition. So this wacky, crazy cartoon that we used to know and love, and pretty much they kind of like take on a certain role in here. We have this cool edition where we have this cool little Cartman figure. So this is actually really cool. It says Kid Robot Grand Wizard Cartman 6-inch figure. We have this Cartman's hand-drawn map of South Park Kingdom. And there's just some extra little like fellowship packs of the different characters in here. So this one I scored for the PlayStation 3, and it's one that I did not have. So otherwise, I had a blast, as you never know what you might find at these types of places. There was just so much to kind of unpack in there. And I've been there before, but I just really didn't remember the amount of games and the amount of stuff that they constantly bring in through trades. They ship out. They just have so much cool stuff. And they even have some more like rare or expensive items kind of like in the little cabinets. But they just have so much that you could just sort through, look through. They have tons of like common games as well, especially if you're going through full sets. And they just have so many like odds and ends, like plushies, different import items from Japan. They have some really cool, you know, collectible figures, just different mixes of different things. They even have a little corner full of arcade machines so that you could sit back, relax, play, you know, or just stand up and play. Just really have a great time. So I definitely had a blast there. I'll have to check it out again in the future. And if you're ever in the Virginia area, make sure you check out Estarland, because I scored some more Super Nintendo games, some more Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 collector's editions and games, and I had a blast. So if you are following along on the Super Nintendo journey, where I try and complete the set of the games for North America, you'll know that last time I ended at 322, and adding 6 more titles, I'm at 328 out of 721. So I can't wait to see what is next on my journey and how many more games I knock off this list. So of course, let me know in the comments below which games or items you liked out of this video. And thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out my other videos and stay tuned for more.